Fox top story now. President Trump going after Democrats earlier today, calling them anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, after reports that there is not a single 2020 Democratic contender committed to attending AIPAC's annual policy conference or speaking there in Washington. This follows a call by the progressive group Move On for Democratic contenders to boycott that event. Right now, it's unclear whether the Democrats' decisions are directly related to calls for a boycott. Power panel now. Kelsey Voller, a fellow with the Independent Women's Forum and senior writer for the Heritage Foundation. Antoine Seawright, Democratic strategist, and served as a senior advisor to Hillary Clinton in South Carolina. Antoine, what is happening with your party in the Jewish community and attending AIPAC?
I think they are responding to AIPAC being an organization that's really close to Ben Netanyahu. And most people know how corrupt he is, i.e. some of the indictments you've seen come down. And I think they're responding to that. And there's an alternative. There's a progressive alternative to AIPAC called J Street that a lot of people, Democrats, found themselves going into. And then AIPAC has taken a policy position that you cannot be pro-Israel and pro-Palestine at the same time.
That's not in their bylaws. What did happen is that they did have an official response to Representative Ilhan Omar's comments.
They did. But I don't think that dictates the behavior of some of the candidates running away. I just think that some of the history of AIPAC and the fact that there is an alternative, I think that's the reason.
One more quick pushback on facts. You called Netanyahu corrupt. They are allegations. We will see what happens. Kelsey?
I think a lot of this is being done simply to spite President Trump. President Trump has been very close with Netanyahu. He has been a great ally of Israel, which historically Americans, bipartisan Americans, have been. I think it's important to point out that this conference historically is a bipartisan conference. And I think Democrats, sort of skipping the conference, coming off the heels of Congresswoman Omar's statements, really sends a message that they are not out here to support Israel. And I think that's going to have a huge effect when 2020 elections come around, because it's going to leave a lot of liberal Jewish Americans feeling politically homeless.
You can be pro-Israel, but also feel some of the pain and burden that's going on in Palestine. I think that's all some of the 2020 goals are saying. And I think that somehow or another, I'm not saying this, but I think that's some part of the messaging that AIPAC wants you to pick a side one way or another.
Let me ask this, because what you're talking about didn't just happen in a vacuum or yesterday. So in 2016, when former Vice President Joe Biden spoke, did you have a problem with that? There have been many other Democrats who've spoken, who've attended. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, both attending this year in a bipartisan fashion.
I did not have.
So would you criticize the senator and the House Speaker?
I'm not criticizing anyone because I'm not running for president. You asked, the question was whether this is an issue for 2020.
I want to know what you think about Biden previously speaking there and their attendance.
I think that's fine because that was his position at the time. Is
it really a binary choice, Antoine?
Harris, so let me say this to you. People's positions can evolve and change. And so the Joe Biden that spoke then, maybe his posture, position, and mood has changed.
We'll have
maybe
to get that from him. Kelsey, what does this do politically, though, leading up to 2020 on this issue?
Well, first off, it gives President Trump an opportunity to highlight his relationship with Israel and to pull some Americans who maybe would have stayed home in 2020 into his camp. And I think it's going to end up being very problematic for Democrats because, again, it's going to leave a lot of liberal Jewish Americans feeling like they have been abandoned by their party, politically homeless. And I think this really speaks to what's going on in the Democrat Party right now, which is really being overtaken by these freshman members like Omar and AOC.
Word.
I disagree with you. There is a progressive alternative to AIPAC called J Street. I think you talked about being homeless. I think those people will find a zip code in J Street.
I'll be right back. Thank you both.
Thank you.